Welcome to PS We're Exploring. Today we're sharing the complete Cape Coast Slave Castle tour from beginning to end. This is one of the most powerful places in Africa, a place where history, pain, resilience, and remembrance come together. As we walk through this UNESCO World Heritage Site, we invite you to reflect on the lives of millions of Africans whose journeys forever changed the world. This video is presented with deep respect for our ancestors and for everyone seeking to understand this important chapter of history. Thank you for joining us.
Second by Danish, Christianborg Castle, 1661, and this is the third, British, 1664. Oldest castle age-wise, 544 years. Smallest Cape Coast, 362 years. By this edifice, it was built in stages. Portuguese were not here for slave trade. They came here, it was gold, ivory, spices business. When they were making more profits, they were looking for a land. This is the land that they built as trading lodge around 1555. They enjoyed monopoly for a very long time until 1637, when they were defeated by the Dutch in Elmina. So they did not see the need to stay here. They just abandoned the lodge. 12 years later, Swedish built a fort at the same place. They named the fort after their king, King Carisberg V. But the fort changed hands from the Danes, the Dutch, the local called Fetu before English. For addition, demolition, reconstruction, this was built over a period of 300 years. They used Africans as laborers. Materials, some were made locally, others were imported. Burnt bricks, marble stones, Oscar shells, lime powder, hinge pan wood, and many others, but no cement, no iron rod. Cement work, as you see, iron rod as you see going round, they are all research development. Cape Coast Castle was built when the slave trade was at its height, so this was built purposely for triangular trade, also known as Transatlantic slave trade. But long before Europeans came, we had a system called indigenous slavery. They were not slaves in that they have the freedom to own their property, live a better life. If you have a chance, whether a male or female, to marry those who were not slaves, those with royalties, offspring were not slaves, you were no more a slave. But this one wasn't like that. They used several methods in acquiring them, and the slaves at the time were property to their owners. Forced capturing by Europeans, raiding and kidnapping, some grew in the tribal conflict, others were debtors, and so on. But they worked barefooted from present-day Togo, Nigeria, Benin, Burkina Faso, all the West African countries. Slave market like Salaga, Sandema, Atebubu, Kintambo. Sorry for the interruption. Let's open our what do you think of it? Welcome. So Kintambo, Salaga, Sandema, the biggest among them, Salaga. But on arrival at the cinema show, the captives were found to have lost energy. They looked very weak and dirty. They therefore washed down in the river, known as Indongoncio, meaning a slave river. For them to regain the lost energy, they were fed well with energy food. And also they apply a share bit of palm oil on their skin. Difficult to identify your brother or your father. This is the life for enslaved African brothers. The only source of light and ventilation, the small openings out there. Male dungeon designed for 1,000. With 1,000, this is where they defecated, where they urinated. They were fed well twice a day. In here, they were held for 3 months. So the ship comes. Let me quickly on the light and come with me to the second. Just on the light. Not hesitate when you want to ask questions. Let's move in. So you need to watch your steps. Moving right here. Source of light, as I said, it was also for rainwater. So anytime it rains, depends upon the direction. Rainwater from this side down the village to wash the sweat, saliva, feces, vomit, everything on the floor. It goes down there and enters the sea from that side. As the rain went on, when they were not receiving much rain, whatever I mentioned accumulated to where we see this. Please let's come closer here. Let's look at it. So this one here, we call it excavation mark. Archaeologists from Archaeological Department, University of Ghana, led by Professor Pacey and Fanda, is now late. They took a sample of the floor to Accra. They tested it and they came out with the findings as I mentioned. So ladies and gentlemen, once again, this is the level of all the accumulated waste. You ask yourself, where were the people when everything was up to that level? They were still inside, crying and screaming. The floor was also the same with the sweat, saliva, but everything on the floor. They stripped off everything, and that's what we have here. So those that were held at the first dungeon, this is their sweat, their saliva, feces, vomit, because of that excavation. Be careful, please. Inside here, this is now original top. They strip off everything. We see the bricks. One other side, it is not original. A floor, solidified, mixed with whatever I mentioned. 200, 200, 200, 1,000. It is estimated that about 1/10 that is not original. A floor, solidified, mixed with whatever I mentioned. 200, 200, 200, 1,000. It is estimated that about 1/10 that before the ship comes. Either they decided that they don't want to suffer, where at the point they will not eat, they will not break, or they die of infection because of the mark that they receive on their skin. Right, let's take a walk. Be careful, please. We are under the church. Above the dungeon was the church. Church for British. Right in front of the church. This you can call a peephole or a spy hole. This is to keep eye on the enslaved Africans. When an officer is entering the church, when someone is around the hole, go in there, pray for your life, your business. When there is any unusual noise down here, that person will not see, but you hear through the peephole in front of the church. The name of the church was Society for the Propagation of the Gospel, and later renamed Anglican Church or Church of England. So as we go out there to continue, we see the building or the structure still above the dungeon, but now converted as a library. The fortune there to go home safe. The people here started at the time. Original opening like this. This is to prevent escape. Because the brave ones attempted to run away. The record here, they were being arrested and punished. Last dungeon, let's come to the last chamber. So many people here, most of them from sisters, brothers, investors. Every first August emancipation. So we see more of this. In memory and honor of those who died. That is why we see the wreath there. And in a dungeon, they were held for 3 months. Once the ship arrived, they do the re-examination to look at their fitness once more. They will line them from the first dungeon, which was a strong section, to this, as they're sorting out. Here they look at the fitness. If you are not strong enough to travel, you wait for the next ship over here. If you are strong, you come here. When they are done with the grouping, the strong ones, they group them 5. They chain them together, 10, chain them together. They walk through underground tunnel. The entrance in the church, where someone is around the hole. Go in there, pray for your life, your business. When there is any unusual noise down here, that person will not see, but you hear through the people in front of the church. The name of the church was Society for the Propagation of the Gospel, and later renamed Anglican Church or Church of England. So as we go out there to continue, we see the building or the structure still above the dungeon, but now converted as a library. The portion here is there for to go home safe. The people here started at the time. Original opening like this. This is the remembrance escape. Because the brave ones attempted to run away. The record here, they were re-arrested and punished. Last dungeon, let's come to the last chamber. So many people here, most of them from sisters, brothers, investors. Every first August emancipation. So we see more of this. In memory and honor of those who died. That is why we see the wreath there. And in the dungeon, they were held for 3 months. Once the ship arrived, they do the re-examination to look at their fitness once more. They will line them from the first dungeon, which was a strong section, to this, as they're sorting out. Here they look at the fitness. If you are not strong enough to travel, you wait for the next ship over here. If you are strong, you come here. When they are done with the grouping, the strong ones, they group them 5. They chain them together, 10, chain them together. They walk through underground tunnel. The entrance to the tunnel was here. So this is where they were led. They came out at a distance to join their mothers and sisters and to the door of no return. Around 1807, legally, slave trade was abolished because of the Industrial Revolution and having Africans working over there. But slavery was still going on. In British Empire, it was abolished in 1833, 1834, under the leadership of Captain George McLean. This was sealed to signify the end of slavery. But as we continue the tour outside, we'll have a look at the continuation of this. The same tunnel dedicated to the souls of the ancestors who went through to the New World as the result of transatlantic.
Oh, we made it in and out.
We are currently in front of a cell, but this, it wasn't an ordinary cell. It was a death cell for men fighting for their right. The waiting room as a dungeon, but they did not see that place as punishment place enough. They went ahead to create condemned cell, a cell where nobody survived. Please, let's watch our heads. 3 separate doors. Let's watch our heads and go inside. Do not assume you are shot. Please go down first. Other than that, you go with that. Finally, I am the last person. The door. Let's all pay attention because I'm on the line. Just as I did at the first part. Wonderful guest. Sadly, this is a place where nobody survived. They could have used guns on them. If you are troubling them here and there, this is where you will die. Using a gun is a waste on their side. But suffering here, when you are no more, somebody will come and see and learn a lesson from whatever you went through. Enslaved Africans outnumbered the soldiers. So this condemned cell was to suppress men, put fear in them. It doesn't have amounts like the dungeons where we came from. This place depends upon the number of enslaved Africans who to them may misbehave at a given time. For this cell here, no food, no water, no light, no ventilation, and not more than 72 hours, you will die. First original door right here, locked up, later removed. Second door right there, later removed, and that as only one ancient door left. Condemned cell here, all that we can say, may their souls rest in perfect peace. We are moving out just as we came. Don't forget, as you get the first, the second, the last, watch your head. Let me on the lights, open the door before you come out. You are done, you come out. 18 feet underground tunnel from the dungeon. This is where guide to do the recounting. And from here they continue to the exit of the tunnel. So those that want to have a look, come closer, look at the underground tunnel. Careful, you can just go in small as I did, but make sure one leg is out, one leg is in, so that when there is anything, help you. Enter from the dungeon, so no staircase here. No. There is no way. All this yard at the time was cemetery, a graveyard for British and those that were trained by British. Several graves all over, but 1996 was the second excavation. So at the yard as I speak now, 4 identified graves and 1 unidentified grave. 3 over there, George McLean, the president of the British Committee of Merchants from 1830. McLean was appointed as the judicial assessor and he established the first court of justice over there, McLean Hall. Before we were colonized for 113 years, they signed a bond It was designed by the same MacLean, but signed by Commander Hill and 8 local chiefs, called upon of 1844. It was signed at the Slave Market Palaver Hall. The tunnel in there was closed under the leadership of MacLean. He died 1847, 46 years, confirmed malaria parasite. The wife came down to visit the husband, by name Letitia Elizabeth London. 3 months after the arrival, the wife died. There were rumors, there were gossips, and 3 sorts of thoughts that is spinal. First one was malaria. Second was jealousy. Husband MacLean was having an affair with a black lady, Helen Bannerman. The wife committed suicide and died. The last one says that the husband and girlfriend, they connived to kill the wife for them to continue with their relationship. That is 6 years the wife died. The last person over there as army commander and lawyer by profession, C.B. Whitehead, born in 1774 and 2nd July 1812. The soldier died at the age of 38. The last one there, separate one, a Ghanaian by name Philip Kweku. Because he was born on Wednesday and Kweku, Helen Bannerman. The wife committed suicide and died. The last one says that the husband and girlfriend, they connived to kill the wife for them to continue with their relationship. That is 6 years the wife died. The last person over there as army commander and lawyer by profession, C.B. Whitehead, born in 1774 and 2nd July 1812. The soldier died at the age of 38. The last one there, separate one, a Ghanaian by name Philip Kweku. Because he was born on Wednesday and Kweku, I can't name. But preachers couldn't pronounce the name Kweku. The name was corrupted to Kweku, the first African priest of the Anglican Church. He was ordained under the ordinance of Reverend Thomas Thompson. So that same place above the dungeon, as I said, it was a church, classroom, and now converted as children's library. Philip Kweku was the headmaster of the school before he died 1816. Every 17th October, the Anglican communities, they pay homage to Reverend Philip Kweku. Let's come back to the tunnel. This happens to be the exit of underground tunnel. They entered from the dungeon. This is where they came out still in chains, still crying and screaming. The final exit, the door of no return, right there. Let's come down please. Punishment cell for mothers. Some mothers attempted to run away and they were being arrested. This is their punishment cell. And soldiers that were here at the time, their wives were not here with them. Some mothers were selected from their dungeons. They sent them up there for the governor to enjoy. Those that did not allow themselves to be rich. First punishment inside their dungeon, they do them mercilessly here for others to see, and thereafter they push them into this as a second punishment. As I said over there, they did not see the dungeons as punishment place enough. They went ahead to place one as condemned cell to suppress men, and this as punishment cell. They will be here for a while, change your mind, so the next time you will not say no. Food and water either once or twice through the hole as you see here. Down here, the hole for sweat, saliva. So this is the end of the drainage from the middle dungeon. Everything from there enters the sea through this. Tells you that everywhere sticks, especially this punishment cell. Finally, let's come down to the dungeon. Family at the time sees themselves first time in month. Soon they were brought to the dungeon. It was more male and less female. One and it is a fishing community. But this area wasn't like this. It was the enclave of the white. So very quiet at the time. Now this beach here are quite nice. The ships, they have names like Jesus, Mary, the Glory of Africa, the White Lion, the Sokoba, any of the ships. It will anchor there. Down here at the shore, they used small boats, which were similar like the canoes. They packed them first into that still in chains. Where there they rearranged them into the ship. Arrangement in the as the captives, when they don't sit comfortably in that ship, they pack them close like sardines in a can or like that on top of each other. It tells you that life in here wasn't easy. Life across the Atlantic Ocean was also not easy. That is why some willingly jumped into the sea and died. Officer going in and coming out, they don't use this called the door of no return. This is what officers use at the time. Behind the same door, it is no more the door of no return. As you can clearly see there, this is now the door of return. The sign was not there at the time. So those that suffered these brutalities, they did not have this. This is 1998, 1st August, the first emancipation, initiated by our late President Rawlings. He went to Caribbean and he came down with this. It has come to stay that every 1st August emancipation. First one, very emotional, such that 2 caskets, one from America, the skeletal remains of Samuel Carlson, the other one from Jamaica, Madame Crystal. The 2 were brought here with the family by air to Accra. Accra to Port Amsterdam and Banzi. Over there, they did not use the road to the castle the same way as they went to the New World with ship. They brought it from Abanzi with canoes. As they entered this year, this is where they perform rituals, where they pour libation, where they welcome the family back home. When the ceremony was over, they were reburied at the cinemas to the same village where they had the last bath before they brought the here. The graves used to be 2 there. Recently they brought another one, so as you go there as I speak, see graves over there. Emotionally, symbolically, it is no more the door of no return. It is now door of return to welcome descendant back home, not necessarily coming through the same door. As a gateway to their motherland where they lost contact, coming back to your roots. It is not the door of no return. It is this, the door of return. So today we have the privilege to return, and I welcome you all officially. Let us return. Let's return. For the sake of this door, let's all return.
Thank you for spending this time with us. The Cape Coast Slave Castle is more than an historical landmark. It is a place of remembrance, reflection, and resilience. May we continue to honor those who suffered here by learning from the past and sharing their stories with future generations. If you found this tour meaningful, please like, subscribe, and share. Your support helps us continue documenting Ghana's rich history, culture, and heritage while growing our PS We're Exploring community. Until next time, keep exploring, keep learning, and never stop remembering our shared history.